to Charles Adams Ray Padini, Miami. Hi Charles, I read your email. I did not know you had met with any subcontractors. I hope you have not signed any contracts. Please call tomorrow so we can discuss. Anyone working on the job site is working under our permit and will need to sign our subcontractor agreement, which is designed to protect you by ensuring compliance with release of lien procedures, provide us with the proper insurance certificates, submit necessary drawings to us, and provide us with specifications for any material. Many of these items will be required when we submit draw requests to the bank and before any payments are made to them. And then you respond, Bill, no, we have not signed any contracts. As you know, we will be assuming the role of interior designers for this project and will be responsible for compliance. We will keep you and the entire team well informed. Currently, we are in the meeting, appraisal, and design phase. Over the next week, we will be submitting 2D and 3D design drawings of all rooms, as well as specifications for any materials and elements being designed to both you, Henry, and the team for approval to incorporate any changes in the plans. Additionally, we will ensure that anyone working on the job site is working under our permit. We'll sign our subcontractor agreements, etc., etc. When did you submit 2D and 3D design drawings of all rooms?
I don't know.
Did you ever?
Did he ever? No, it's not me submitting. It's Padini. So right after this, Bill went down to Miami and met with Franco and interjected. So at that point, Bill became interwoven. So this was not an independent thing. I informed Bill what we were doing. Bill immediately went down there, met with Padini, told him what he needed from him. He told him about his subcontract agreements and all those things. So Bill, at that point, Bill inserted himself into it, and I started backing away from it because now it was Bill's baby.
Did you ever submit 2D and 3D design drawings of all rooms?
Objection form.
I don't know. I can speculate, but I don't know.
Okay, so I have 175 and
161.
161 next. Let me just look.
We'd never stay organized without this.
So take a look at 161 if you would.
Thank you.
This is January of 2016. Do you recall sending that email to Mr. Hasey
Okay, I just
after
read
the
this.
contract was
I
signed?
just read this one.
It says, Bill, please revise your construction estimate to the bank not to exceed 7 million, not including 1.5 million for land purchase. The current budget for this project is 8.5 million, including land. Your current estimate is forcing me to come out of pocket an additional 1 million.
Okay.
And then Mr. Hasey accommodated you and reduced the budget, right?
Yes.
And did this remain the budget throughout 2016?
As far as I know, yes.
And going back to Exhibit 301, you did go to 290 South Maya Palm, correct?
Yes.
That evening?
Yes.
Then it says on that Exhibit 301, Monday, November 14, 2016, Bill called Henry at 1:55 to see when he was meeting with Charles. Henry returned Bill's call at 2:47 p.m., 2 minutes. Bill called Charles at 5:42 p.m. and left a message. Bill said that he would be in Frenchman's Reserve on Tuesday and would be able to meet Charles at the condo before his 11 a.m. meeting, knowing that Charles would be at the condo meeting with Henry Franklin. As of 4:55, Tuesday, November 15, 2016, Bill has not heard back from Charles. Wednesday, November 16, 2016, Charles had not called Bill as of 3 p.m. Do you recall any of that?
No.
On 300?
I don't even know if I was in town.
Are you done with 161 and 162?
I believe so. Did I use 162?
They were just giving us that way. I didn't know if you were using both or
I
not.
may have forgotten 162. Let me look. I'm bouncing around here. Forgive me. Here, I'll look and see what it is. I've got it. I've got it. Okay, take a look at 162. You sent an email to United Mortgage Lenders. I just received documents from the bank estimating cash at closing to be $3 million, vice $2 million. My total out-of-pocket costs and budget follows. So, do you remember sending that email?
No. Give me a second. I'm trying to recollect. Yes, it's sent by me, but I don't remember the context.
Well, do you recall that you were concerned that based on the estimates you had from Couture, that you were gonna need more than the $2 million in cash you put in, you would need an extra $1 million?
Objection to form.
No, I don't
Do you recall communicating to Mr. Hasey that the estimate had to come down to $7 million because you didn't want to put any more money in than the $2 million you put in?
Yeah. Since you bring up the Couture estimate, the Couture estimate was an estimate not based on the plans. We had no plans. So I see you are relying on Couture. Couture, we never had any plans. It was just a number he came up with. It was a arbitrary number.
It was a pro forma.
Yeah, it was an arbitrary number.
I'm gonna show it to you. I'm gonna show it to you.
Right, okay. Yeah, so, and the stuff he did in there was just to get the ball rolling.
You asked him to do a pro forma break projection
Right,
without plans, and he did that.
right.
And what Bill did was just take that down to the number you wanted, right?
Yes, to my budget, yes.
Right, didn't have a plans then either, right?
No, we had a lot more to go on at that time, yes. This was,
But you didn't have a full set of plans.
no, but we had square footage, we had a lot more than we had with Couture. We had nothing with Couture. This is 6 months later, we had, at the least, we had a model to go by.
And as of November 23rd, Jeannie was working on behalf of you to try to get bids reduced, right?
What year?
2016. Do you recall that? Do I have to show you
Jeannie
the
was
document?
always trying to get bids reduced. I mean, it was not one specific email. That was her job. She was
Yes.
always getting best bid.
All right, do you remember her telling you or emailing you on or about November 25 that she was able to get the bids reduced from the window and door people?
Yes,
Okay. So were you happy with Jeannie's performance?
yes.
Okay. So when Jeannie told you that at November 25th, were you happy?
I'm satisfied. Anytime you can save $1, I mean, yeah, I guess I'm happy. I'm satisfied. I mean, I didn't throw a party, but yeah.
I'm saying you're not having a fight with Bill or anything or anyone at this point.
Objection to
As
form.
of November 25th, when she tells you what she's doing, she's emailing you
Oh,
regularly.
I've never had a fight with Bill and his staff until the last day of communication when he confronted me with his scheme. Never had a problem with anyone. We had a great relationship. Things were going along smoothly. There were no complaints on either side, and until that fateful death.
You're saying at the end of November?
Yes.
But you'd already received a memo from him in October. You'd already received an email from him.
Mhm.
You'd already emailed him back
Mhm.
that you wanted the first bill to be run through the 700 that he had received, right?
No, no. When he
This wasn't a
sent,
new subject, in other words. At
Right.
the end of November, this wasn't a new subject.
right, it was a shocking subject when he showed me a bill and for work that was already previously done. Yes, we notated it. We couldn't understand why he was
Well,
doing
you got
that.
that bill a month before the end of November.
Right, and we didn't pay it.
I understand, but you were aware of it. You'd already said you didn't want to pay it a month before the end of November, right?
Yeah, and he was persistent.
And did Bill try to meet with you at the end of November?
I think so. He wanted to explain how his new scheme would work.
A new scheme, or did
No,
he?
his scheme.
Did he?
Is
Did he?
it-
Did he?
Well,
Did he?
guys,
It's a scheme. It's
let him try and
Yes.
finish this question, and then you can respond.
so you think that Bill discussing the fact that you don't want to come out of pocket and your job is going to cost well more than $7 million, and he's concerned about having to advance sometimes over $1 million for you for certain subcontractors, waiting for payment, him wanting to meet with you, that you didn't want to do it. You didn't want to meet with him.
Objection to form.
Let me rephrase it.
That's-
So when Bill asked to meet with you at the end of November, do you recall getting that request?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall getting an email?
I'm sure that's how he communicated.
Okay, let's look at, before we get to that, yeah, I'm thinking about doing 310. Let's see.
Do you need water or something?
No.
So let's look at 310.
310.
I got it. Sorry.
Is this mine or his?
That's his. Here's yours.
It's an email from Bill Hasty to you with a copy to Claudia, dated November 23rd, 2016, 10:35 PM. Have you read that yet?
No, not yet. Yeah, okay.
You recall this email?
Yes,
So on November 23rd, you received this email. Was that before you had this phone conversation with Bill that you became angry and thought he was doing a scheme?
I didn't think he was,
Okay, so this email was before
Yes.
you say he was doing a scheme.
Well, he was attempting,
Okay, so this was the email before.
yes.
Okay, and he said, in our you said, okay, let's start with the paragraph that begins. In our phone conversation back on Thursday, November 10, I told you I wanted to meet to discuss the contract provisions and procedures. We agreed to meet late Friday morning or early afternoon. I called you Friday at 9:45 a.m. on my way back from Miami and left the message that I would be back in Boca by 10:30 a.m. and could meet any time after that. Is that a true statement, what he just said there?
I'm assuming, I couldn't tell you. I didn't write it.
When you came over to our Royal Palm model around 5 p.m. Friday with Henry and his wife, I did not think it was an appropriate time to discuss our contract. I did call you on the following Monday and left you a message asking when you would be available to meet, but I did not hear back from you. I believe it is very important that we have the discussion. Hopefully we can do this when we meet next Monday to see the Eurowall product. Have a happy Thanksgiving holiday.
Yes.
Did you respond to that email?
I don't know if I did or not, but this is more of him trying to renegotiate the contract. I don't understand, it's all of a sudden he wanted to, the contract I signed the year prior, he's kept wanting to rehash it, and they all had, there was a domino effect. He initially tried, he sent me this scheme on how, about my old house, and I think he put down 20%, then he kept going on, then he's now wants to tell me how the contract works, which has been working for 11 months. And I'm an analyst, I see what this guy is doing, so I have no interest in entertaining this idea.
Talking to him.
No, I have no interest in talking about the contract again.
The contract and procedures.
No, that's, okay,
This is a month after, this is a year after you signed the contract almost, right?
yes,
Is it the same house that you were building in December of 2015, or is it a
yes,
different house?
same house.
Same house, okay.
There's
So-
no need to discuss the contract.
Right, so your expert is going to testify that the house that you were building and the cost of $7 million that Mr. Hasey provided is what you were on budget for and what you were building a year later.
I don't think that that's the question.
It's not a
I think
question.
you can answer that.
Well, let's say, Mr. Frankie, your testimony is that, have you spoken to Mr. Frankie and asked him if, as of November of 2016, the house that he had designed was in the same price range as the house that you had contemplated a year before?
No,
It was different, right?
Objection informed.
You
no,
were
I,
upgrading things, you were modifying things, you were adding things at great expense, weren't you?
I'm confused. We're talking about meeting for a contract, not about the speculation that the house is worth more. So we're talking about this document, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing in this document is pertaining to the price increase of the house.
If what you were doing in December of 2015 was changing rapidly and it was a year later, did you think it was unreasonable that Mr. Hasey wanted to talk to you about that?
Objection informed.
I thought it was unreasonable for wanting to talk about the contract.
Because you thought that you could just keep adding and changing and redoing for a whole year, and that you shouldn't listen to him tell you his concerns.
Objection to the form. Argumentative.
Do you want to answer that?
Sure.
That has nothing to do with this document, right? So we're talking about something different?
No, we're talking about his desire to speak to you from his perspective. You've said, from your perspective, he was trying to scam you.
Yes.
But you didn't pay him the respect to listen to him, correct?
Now you're asking him to testify about Bill's perspective?
I'm saying you've said that you didn't want to talk to Mr. Hasey because you thought he was scamming you, right?
No, the reason why, you have to understand. He
Strike
initially,
that. Strike that, I'll rephrase it. Haven't you said repeatedly that you believed at this time Mr. Hasey was trying to scam you?
he was trying to get me to pay for invoices that I already paid for. And he continued that line for at least a month. Then he then led to, let me tell you about the contract, how it's going to work. And I already been working the contract for 11 months. So he was introducing new material that this is settled stuff. The contract has been settled. Now, he didn't mention anywhere in any text that I think the valuation has gone up over the last 12 months, or if you're adding new things. None of that stated here or any email that I'm aware of.
Mr. Adams, at the time you decided not to talk to Mr. Hasey, which you've described as shutting him down, You thought he was going to try to scam you, is what you've said repeatedly, right?
No, I didn't say I tried to shut them down. On a particular subject matter, I was open for discussion.
You weren't open for discussion.
Right, we talking about the contract and paying for